Welcome to our Nirvana Day service. We are fortunate to have with us today special guest minister, Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi. Sensei was here last year for our spring Ohigan service. Welcome again to Enmanji, Sensei. Nirvana Day, also known as Parinirvana Day, is a Buddhist holiday that commemorates the Buddha's death and his entry into Nirvana when he was 80 years old. It's a time to reflect on death, impermanence, and the Buddha's teachings. Let us begin with quiet meditation. Please sit quietly and place your hands together in Gasho. Sensei will ring the bell to begin and end the meditation. Please stand for the opening. Please stand for the opening gatha, the teachings of all Buddhas, on page 168 in the purple book. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please remain standing for the threefold refuge on page 10. Difficult is it to receive a human form. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us, with sincerity and true reverence, take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become unit in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated. Today our guest speaker is Reverend Dr. Kenji Akawaoshi. In 2007, Dr. Kenji Akawaoshi sold his dental practice. The sensei earned his master's from the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley. In 2012, he received his Kyoshi certification in Japan. In 2013, Reverend Akawaoshi was appointed resident minister of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego. Sensei is now retired and living in San Jose with his wife, Karen, who is also with us today. Welcome, Karen. Also, Sensei is very busy in his retirement. He mentioned to me as well, so maybe he'll elaborate a little bit on that in his talk. We're going to continue with Sambujo on page 24, Sutra Chanting in the Purple Book, led by Reverend. And then our sutra is Jusege on page 93. We will now hear a Dharma message from Reverend Nicholas.
Good morning. Good morning. I had to make sure my computer is still working here. Thank you for this invitation to speak here. Enmanji Sangha and Reverend Fujimoto and Daryl for asking me to return here. I enjoy being here. This is a very nice and peaceful appearance of basketball compared to what Sandplay has become in the last 7 years. I grew up with Sandplay when we were talking. When San Jose was peaceful like Sebastopol is now. In any event, today we are observing the Nirvana Day, or the day that the passing of Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha. And what is significant here is that Shakyamuni Buddha was a human being just like us. And it's said that he became enlightened. And the significance of that is that we, as regular, ordinary, common human beings, can awaken. Perhaps not to the extent that he did. But then Shinran has said that Shakyamuni Buddha did lay a path for us in the larger sutra for common people who do not have to become monks to become awake. And so I've talked about, and I'll repeat some of the things I said last year. Some of the things that's made it difficult for new people, especially young people who may have gone to our Dharma school in YBA, to really understand some of these things. And the two basic reasons are that there's a difference in culture and also a difference in time period. Culture, I asked them, what does this mean to many people? Oide, come here. And what does this mean to others? Goodbye. And so you have the same gesture with opposite meanings. So that's a difference in culture, and that happens in many of the things we're using in the language we use. The other thing is time period. Even Renyo's time, 500 years ago, the Earth was considered to be flat. And now what? We really realized that without satellite TV or GTS or some of these other things, Zoom, we can't get along. And that means that the Earth is not flat, but we're rotating around the sun that's in a galaxy that's in a universe that has, billions of galaxies. So this whole thing of time is different. But the Buddha was different when he became enlightened, in the sense that he was talking about how we can resolve the issues of old age. I know about that. Sickness and death. I don't know about that yet. But and instead of kind of just relying on the causes at that time, which was of course mythology, but also that deities caused these things. Of course, people didn't know what caused earthquakes, volcanoes, all these things, storms, and so things were usually applied to the causes of the deity. The Shakyamuni Buddha did not do that. He based it on the natural laws of the earth and universe. But he had to convey it in ways that people of that time could understand. And so naturally, things were converted, and we talk about the Buddha as a spiritual force. There is a spiritual force, but it doesn't have to be an image that has been passed down to us. And so, basing things on how the earth works, and also what he realized was how we humans work. And I think of him as the first psychologist. Some people call him the Buddha the first physician, talking about the Four Noble Truths, the diagnosis and the cause of that and the cure, and how to do that. Well, I think he was the first psychologist in that he understood how we humans interact with these natural laws of the earth. And for an example, he just said, be a light unto yourself and work out your liberation with diligence. So what he explained was how things worked, and it was up to us to work out, whether we believe these things or not. And that's what we humans have. That may be different than most other animals and other creatures. We have this consciousness which can decide, do we want to go along with how it works, these laws, or go a different way? For an example, gravity. If I jump off a 2-foot stool, that might be fine. I have to think if I jump off something that's 10 feet high. Now, the law tells me if I jump from 100 feet high, would I want to do that? So there are basic laws that he's provided, and I'll go over that. And it's our human, development with this consciousness to decide whether we agree with that or not. And so, what we as followers of Shinran come up with ways that we don't have to become monks and nuns. And the way to do that, Shinran said, was to recall and recite the Buddha's name constantly. Namo, Amida, Butsu. Well, what does that mean? We have to kind of figure that out. So what I'd like to do today is just kind of give you a contemporary idea of what I feel these old traditions are not just rituals or things that are confused. And we are confused because we're in a country that is basically influenced by Christian culture. And so again, we have to kind of adjust our minds, not only from the 15th century to the 21st century, but in an environment that has a whole different way of thinking. And as an example, what Shinran said was we just have to express gratitude constantly. And before meals, and we tell our kids to do this, and I often forget. Before meals, what do we say? Itadakimasu. Sometimes Namo, Amida, Butsu, Itadakimasu. Now, of course, that's honoring food. But what that is also doing is acknowledging that everything is interconnected. How did we get that? It depended on the sacrifice of some animals. If you're eating bacon and eggs, and farmers who grew these things, vegetables, how did it get to the market? How did people prepare them to be picking them up at a market, who cooked and served these things? The simple act of eating a meal is included virtually thousands and actually it could be millions of people. We get fruits and vegetables from many other countries. And so just Itadakimasu is not just saying thank you for this meal, but it's acknowledging the interdependence of everything. And so Shinran is saying this is how we acknowledge that we're connected, and that this single person that I think is me, that, as I look around, I see individual people. We're not individuals, we're part of a group. And the way I've been suggesting that is that the me that is apparently obvious is actually we. And if you think in this way, that parts of our body are not just, I'm not just my heart or my arm or my leg. Different body parts include the whole person. And this was the definition of, no self. That a cart is a cart when you take away the wheels or the yoke. He's saying that we are the same way. We're not just, a brain or legs. Well, we're not just individuals. Saying Itadakimasu really affirms that we are a group. We're always included. And it's to remind us that we are more a we than me. And as a group, what we're acknowledging, as Shinran said, is that we realize that we receive much more than we achieve individually. And I did this last year, where I asked you to think of the highest achievement you think you gained. Did you do it alone? I felt real proud when I got into dental school. I felt even prouder when I got out of dental school. But think of it. How did that happen? Who nurtured you for the first 20 years of your life? Whether you went to a college or got a job, who sustained you? Others have always done that. What about the company you were with? Who created that company? You can say, I just went to work for, IBM or whatever company it was, but someone started that. Again, it involves thousands and virtually millions of people, and we're part of that group. And so we automatically identify ourselves with the group. Instead of me, we're we. And that whatever we achieve, when we look deeper into things, it was achieved because of what we have received from others, education, growing, nutrients, all these things. And so saying Namo Amida Butsu is a way of saying thank you, an expression of gratitude that we acknowledge constantly that everything around us is, in a sense, received. And that includes us with everything else. Now, being inclusive means that if others are helping me and I'm part of this group, naturally I serve others. And that's what our Buddhist temples do. When we have, Dharma schools or YBAs or adult education, we're serving others. We may have groups that, have fundraisers for other people, charities. But this is what Shin Buddhists are doing. We're not holy or, being good. Good things happen. We help other people. But it's about acknowledging that we have been included, being aware of that, and we include others. And so this is what we're about. What else can we be grateful for? One big thing is human birth. As I said, we're the one species that is able to think about things like the future and the past. Maybe animals do that, but they don't do it to the extent we do. And especially Shin Buddhists. Now, we do this constantly. And I read this poem by Butsu Amida last time called Ancestors. And he brings up this reality of who we are. My father and mother, altogether 2. Parents of my father and mother, altogether 4. Parents of parents, altogether 8. If I count in this way, back to 10 generations, altogether 1,024. What about back to 20 generations? To my surprise, over 1 million people. Here, from infinite past, a life rally baton has passed on. Here now I live with my baton. This is my life, this is your life. So we all have this life rally baton, and I like to call it life energy. The way we grew from an infant to a teenager to an adult is because we received life energy, and we got the original life energy from our parents. They got it from their parents, etc., etc. But again, you see that it's taken thousands and millions just to make each one of us. And this is why we say Namo Amida Butsu, thank you. So, as Shin Buddhists, we're really validating the fact that we are spiritual beings, that we have these memorial services. And some other people may ask, is it all about death? No, but at times, such as funerals, we're open. When a pet dies, when a loved grandparent or a friend dies, we realize the impermanence of our life. And so our hearts are open to hear truth. And the truth is that our lives are impermanent. One part of our life, our physical life. But another part of our life is interdependent. It goes on. We have this life spirit that was passed on to us, this life rally baton, and we pass it on. Even if we don't have children, as we help other people, we're passing that life energy on. Now, and Shin Buddhists, again, not having to be monks, we do this in all the services. At our home, we might have, in past days, they had behind the names written on the wooden things. Well, many people don't do that now. So what if we replace that with, just like satellite TV, we have photographs, right? Not in the altar itself, but it reminds us this is where we came from. And we go to daily our home altar and again, express appreciation. And all these memorial services, 49 days, 1st year, 3rd year, 7th, 13th, why? To remember. Here we are 2,000, almost 600, 500 years after the passing of Shakyamuni Buddha, we remember him. How many other people have we remembered, 100 years ago? But we continue to honor and say that we are here because of the causes and the efforts of others. And Shin Buddhism does this at a level that ordinary people can appreciate. And so what we're doing is awakening our minds to align it with the natural forces of everything on earth. Now, the Buddha did this again many, couple of thousand years ago. But we see this statue of Amida Buddha, which came some, a few hundred years afterwards. But the Buddha was only able to explain this life energy in terms of the deity, like everything else. But now it's come down to us, and in our very sophisticated age, we think, oh, gods don't do that. We know what causes storms and earthquakes and so forth. And so we put down the thought that some deity is causes. And so we wonder why we have that. Well, this is what Namo Amida Butsu means. I am one with Amida, light and life. Butsu, I'm awake to that. What is Amida? Shakyamuni Buddha explained this, again, 2,500 years ago. And he used the Sanskrit words Amitayus Amitabha. Well, Amitabha, infinite light, immeasurable light, and Amitayus, infinite life. So he was using the Sanskrit words, which Japanese combined into the word Amida, to mean light and life. So he's giving a scientific explanation, life energy. And we use the symbols of a candle and flowers. And so we're reminded again. And in the central figure, we either have a figure of standing Amida Buddha, signifying light and life, or a picture, or the words Namo Amida Butsu. And so as Shin Buddhists, we don't have to carry around any statues or pictures. At any time we have Namo Amida Butsu, we have Nembutsu with us, Namanda, just to remind us. And so what we're saying is not, a dedication to a deity, and even an appreciation. It is acknowledging that we're part of this life and life, that we receive life energy from parents and grandparents and ancestors, and we pass that on in the form of service to others, whether it's an education or kind words or whatever that is. And this is what we do at Shin Buddhists. These two forms really satisfy our lives as we look at this impermanence. This body may not last another 50 years, as I'm hoping to do. Doctors are doing a great thing. I've got a lot of artificial parts within me that keep it going. But that may not happen. And that's part of the awakening. But there is another part of me, this life energy that we call Namo Amida Butsu. And that goes on. I do have a son. But even without my own children, as I speak and as I interact with others, it's important that I do that in a kind and harmonious way. That's what my life baton should be, not to talk about hate and destruction and separation. And so the truth is, thinking of ourselves as a group, we say thank you. I realize that I received much more than I achieved. And to show that, my actions are to serve others, not for recognition or future benefit. I realize that I have already received this in the form of life energy. And I call this life energy Amida, light and life. And it's my appreciation. I talk about for young people to really realize that we're talking scientifically. Light and life. Everything on this planet is light and life. And it's not this deity. It could be. For me, in the morning, to see a statue is very meaningful. To have, the gestures of welcome, instead of the Chinese characters. So this human figure, this historical Buddha, who was wise enough to pass on this truth of light and life in human form. Sometimes we're confused. What is this Amida? It's a symbol. What's a symbol? It's like the flag or the national anthem. When we hear the national anthem, or see the flag, as we probably will on TV this afternoon, at America's religious holiday of the Super Bowl. We hear the national anthem, and something occurs with us. And the same with Butsu, Namo, Amida, Butsu, we're singing in statue. It goes beyond words, but something moves us within our hearts. And so that is what I feel is a contemporary interpretation of some of these things that we may take for granted as being old, ancient beliefs. But again, Shakyamuni Buddha in his wisdom conveyed these in a way he needed to at the time when the earth was flat and people could only understand things in a certain way. But if we look into it from a scientific or more literal form, which he did, Amitayus, Amitaba, Amida, life, and as I use the term life energy, we realized that we're saying thank you. And so I see that what we're left with is this expression that we can use any time. And we come here on a regular basis to remind ourselves, but also we can do this on a daily basis, either in the morning or night or any time of day when we realize that we are receiving the efforts of others. And so with that, please join me in expressing our deepest appreciation for receiving human life itself by expressing the members of God's show. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Sensei. That was an excellent Dharma talk. Please stand for the closing gatha, Nehane no Buddha, on page 273 in the purple book. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated. Are there any announcements today? Sensei has offered to do. Go ahead.
Good morning. So we forgot to tell you that, yeah, we were only going to do 2 verses of that last song. So you may have figured that out. You did pretty well for considering you haven't sung these songs before, or with the teaching of all Buddhas. As far as I know, we've never sung that since 1969, so if you're familiar with it, that's good for you. But if you're singing it for the first time, then you're joining the rest of us that haven't really sung that. So good for you. We're going to do some new ones here and there. Not next month, but we will be doing them periodically. Also, just to let you know that next Saturday, the San Mateo Buddhist Temple is holding their annual Nembutsu seminar with Dr. Paula Arai from the Institute of Buddhist Studies. She will be talking about women liberating Buddhism. And then the Sunday after, next Sunday, is our general meeting for the temple, and it will be held virtually. If your email address is known to Diane, she will be sending you a link if you would like to join us for the general meeting. And then the following weekend is when the BCA National Council starts. They start with workshops on the Saturday that are open to everybody, and then on Sunday there is a town hall with Bishop Harada. And then the final weekend of February, going into March, we have the BCA National Council meeting, and on the very first Sunday of March is the BCA Eitaikyo service. So we won't have a service here, but it is anticipated that you would join us virtually at the BCA Eitaikyo service. If you do want to join us, you can come to the Jodo Shichu Center, but you can certainly do that virtually. And then we will start with our Shotsuki Hoyo service on the second Sunday of March. Thank you.
I'll email the link for the National Eitaikyo service.
Thank you, Ken.
I would just like to remind everyone that our Chamen is on March 23rd, and BWA will be in charge of the drinks and the bake sale. So if anybody has any goodies to bake and would like to participate, that is the 23rd of March. And they would also like us to help on Saturday for preparation. And then also, if anybody is interested in attending the Hawaii World Conference hosted by Hawaii on September 11th and 12th of 2027, if you could please let me know, because they would like a tentative. It's not something that, it's going to happen in a couple of years, who knows what's going to happen, but they would like to have a count if we could give it to them as soon as possible. So if you would like to attend or you're thinking about it, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. There will also be a question and answer and discussion in the hall. Sensei has made himself available, so anybody who has any questions, answers, or would just like to discuss Buddhism, please feel free, okay? I would like to thank Reverend Akahoshi for your Dharma talk. Thank you, Daryl Yagi, for setting up the Onajin and Regan Kancho. Thank you, Kent Matsuda, for the music. And thank you to the February Taban for the flowers and the offerings. Everyone is invited for light refreshments in the hall. If you have not had a chance to Oshoto, you are invited to do so before leaving the Hondo. Thank you again for attending today's service.